Hello, can you hear me okay? Just get the camera aligned. Good. Okay, I think the music's a little low. Turn that up a bit. Yep. She likes to be wherever I am. Okay, welcome everyone. Namaste. Let's begin. Today I'd like to begin with a different warm-up exercise, one that we can do from a seated position. This pose can be used as Virasana, but it's classically done in a cross-legged or lotus position. So sitting in some sort of crisscross applesauce-like position or Virasana. Just take a moment to relax and notice any tension in the body. And we're just going to take a gentle twist to the right. So take your left hand across your right leg, your right hand behind you. Just gently twist to the right. Now, twisting is going to be our focus for this class. So really go easy, especially this first twist. We're looking more for length. Try to get the spine long. We got plenty of time to get deeper in the twist. Okay, back to center. Let's take that twist to the left. And back to the center. So I just want to mention this particular exercise. It comes from the Tibetan Buddhist yoga tradition. And traditionally, you wouldn't learn it until you practiced meditation for about 20 years. But because the tradition was dying out, they didn't want these practices to die out completely. And they're still very helpful. whether or not you understand the full depth of the exercises and what they're intended for. So we're going to start with the first one, and it's for the nerves, and which refer to the root chakra in some ways of looking at the philosophy. We take the hips around in a circle like this. So I try not to use too much Buddhist jargon or yoga jargon like chakras and nidras or things like that, just to keep things universal and so you can understand them. So one way to look at this particular exercise, instead of looking at it as warming up the root chakra, you could say we're really bringing consciousness into the area at the very base of the spine and in the hips, stimulating the nerves there. Let's take it the other way. And as I'm doing this, I almost like to feel like I'm trying to dig into the ground with this movement, because it's supposed to be a very grounding exercise. Our root chakra is really about the earth element and connecting to the earth. And in order to ground through our legs, we really need to ground through the spine here. Okay, I'm coming back to the center. Now take your thumbs, touch the base of your ring finger, and then close the fingers over the thumbs, palms to the knees. And then this is for the heart chakra, or you could say just opening up consciousness in the deep in the chest and the upper back. There's been some studies that have proven that if you can feel your own heartbeat, that you tend to be a more empathetic or empathic person in a good way. So you could look at this exercise as really looking deep, feeling your heart, and everything in that area. Now let's take the shoulders forward. Okay, back to center. Next one's classically for the throat chakra. We're just stimulating the glands, the thyroid glands in the throat. Crossing the hands at the wrist. The thumbs anchor on the chin, or the beard in my case, and then the fingers, side of the neck, slide forward as the thumbs just stay in place, kind of like this butterfly motion. And the other hand in front. And then palms to the knees. Now, if you prefer, you could do the half circles we usually do, or you could do full circles. But I recommend starting off small and getting slowly larger. We're going to do about 8 circles each direction. I'm going a little faster than I probably should. Not too fast. Other way. And back to the center. Okay, let's just take about 10 mindful breaths here, because it's really a great warm-up for meditation, but it's also good for our yoga practice. But let's do just a short breath meditation. See if you can watch 10 breaths in a row, going in and out of your nose. Relaxing the body, awareness of the body. Okay. Welcome again. If you're just tuning in, we're doing a twisting practice today largely. We're going to start though in a wide-legged child's pose, but I'm going to show you how you can do a little bit of a twist in wide-legged child's pose. But for now, just find your way into wide-legged child's pose. I have to adjust some of the lighting a little bit here, but most of you know what the wide-legged child's pose is. I'll demo it actually real quick. Just like so. Okay, from wide-legged child's pose, and this is optional. It's a little bit trickier. If this is the first time you're doing this pose, you could just stay there if you want. But if you want to try this, come in a bit, about halfway with your hands, and the left hand comes underneath and the shoulders down. It's kind of like inverted twist, as most of you have done. So now we're in a bit of a twist. You could reach forward. I find that's nice and stabilizing. Or you could rest your elbow down. But make sure that the twist isn't too deep. Again, we got lots of time to get there. For now, look for length. Okay, drawing your hand in, pressing up. Naturally, we got to do it on the other side. Right hand through underneath the left armpit. Right shoulder down, side of the head down. You might reach forward. You may notice too that you can get into the outer shoulder in this position as well, a nice little stretch. And then coming back up, let's come up to kneeling, all fours. I recommend a nice soft surface. If you don't have a thick mat, I even have a thick mat, I still go with a blanket, but something nice for your knees. Give your knees a break. So inhale, tilting the belly down. Exhale, belly up, relax the head. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And come into neutral. Now, very similarly to what we just did, we're going to take the arm up and then through into inverted twist. Alternatively, though, because that can be a tricky position to get into, is you can just take puppy pose with your arms forward and your hips over your knees. But basically, inverted twist is puppy pose with a twist. Okay, pressing back up to neutral tabletop. Other side, or coming back into puppy pose. And then coming back up to center, hands forward a bit, hips forward a bit. Now you can hold just here in the top plank, Or you could hold in chaturanga, which is halfway down, or you could transition a few times in between. This will help your sun salutations and a number of yoga poses down the road. Throwing these in every time be a good idea. Now it's lower all the way down. Then please reach your left arm out to the side. Right hand presses into the floor, and we peel up the right side of the body. Your top leg could reach back. And you notice there's a bit of a twist in the pose, which you can accentuate if you like. And then coming back to flat, drawing the left hand in, right hand out, peeling up the left side of the body. And then coming back to the center, hands beside the chest, elbows in and back, curl up to a light cobra. Try to keep the tops of the feet down. Lifting up is a completely different engagement in the back. We want to keep the tops of the feet down and see how that can help us to lift more all the way up through the neck. And hovering the hands off the floor. Hover the hands forward. And then release down, tuck your chin. We're going to do a cross lift, left leg, right arm. Lifting up, inhale. Legs straight, arms straight, reaching. If you have palm in, it helps you to wrap the outer armpit towards the floor. And then releasing. Other side, left arm, right leg. And releasing, hands back in, beside the chest, elbows in, coming into a light cobra or into an upward dog. And back to bent knee, downward dog. So keep the knees bent, hips up and back. You could come through tabletop. Deep knee bend. Get long through the hands. Let the shoulder blades be down the back towards the hips. And walking the dog, start straightening the legs. And inhale, come forward into plank. If you need to, you can have your knees down. If you want to try twisted plank, you bring your feet together and drop the heels. But it's not side plank. Your hands stay down. Other side. Back to center and back to down dog. In down dog, let's lift our heels up, stretch out the toes and arches. Then heels down, stretch the calves. Heels up again, stretch the toes and arches. Then heels down, stretch the calves. All right, bend the knees, look forward. Step, walk, or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale to flat back. Holding flat back. And then bending the knees, ragdoll. Lying over the thighs, release some traction in the spine. You might pulse your legs a little bit here. You might hug around your legs. Try to keep the chest on the thighs. And then hands down, send the left leg way back. Right foot's forward in a deep low lunge. Back knees up if you can for now. Come up onto your thigh. And arms out to the side. See if you can twist as a counterintuitive twist to the right. Don't overdo it. Keep the tailbone tucked. Keep your core engaged. Now we take the left hand down, keep the upper body formation. Your right hand just naturally reaches up. And lowering the back knee down. Your right hand could be on your thigh as you sink the hips forward. And you could stay here. You could reach up or reach back or point your toes and lift the back knee. So a few options here. Hopefully that's not too many. I'm doing my personal favorite here. All right, slowly releasing from there. And then take the back foot, hop the back leg forward. Inhale, come into flat back. This is our sun salutation movement vinyasa. And then fold forward. Bend the knees, send the right leg way back. And come up onto the thigh. Arms out to the sides. And if you can, take that counterintuitive twist to the left. Stay low in the front leg. Keep your core engaged. And then right hand down. Left hand's reaching up. And left hand, left thigh, lower your back knee. Keep the hips sinking forward. You could point your back toes and lift your back knee if you want. Or from here, you could bend the back knee, reach back. You could reach up. Find your version that you did on the other side. Slowly unwind, release, tuck the back toes under, hop the back leg forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Firm the legs, inhale, sweep wide and up. Exhale, namaste. Okay, shake it out. If you're just tuning in, you're a little late, but welcome. We're getting into twists. If you need a little sip of water before we get into it, go for it. It's getting a little warmer now. Wardrobe adjustment, perhaps. Pet the assistant a little bit. Then we're going to start with a wide-legged wide-legged stance on the mat. So this is already the pose. Seems pretty casual, but this is it. Working on pressing it out to the outer edges of the feet. The stance, sometimes called the Wonder Woman. It's good for building confidence. And then turning your left toes in, right toes out 90 degrees. Tone the back leg, arms up. Inhale. Then exhale, arms wide. Warrior two. A couple options today. One's a little easier. This one's extended side angle. But if you bring your hand down without lifting your back heel, you might be able to reach straight up with the right hand in revolved extended side angle. But it's a pretty deep twist. Helps have a block. You can just stick with the regular extended like I am here. And anchor from your back leg. Inhale, coming up. Hands to the hips. Now right toes in, left toes out. 90 degrees, heels in line, arms up. Tone the back leg. And then arms wide, warrior two. If you need to adjust or widen your stance, use your back leg. And from here, either left forearm down, right arm reaches over, or right hand down, keeping the back heel down, reach up with the left hand. And then anchor from the back leg, inhale, coming up. Left toes in, interlace the fingers behind you. Roll the shoulders back, lift the heart. Tone the legs continuously, hinge forward, leading with the heart. You could maintain this flat back position if that's more comfortable. If you want to round a bit forward, draw your arms over top, go for it. It's easier to let your palms come apart. It's harder to keep your palms together. And inhale, drawing yourself back up to standing. Release the hands, bring both heels in. Interlace again in front, this time reverse interlace. Turn the palms forward. Then take the knees wide, arms up into goddess pose. Imagine there's a post in front of you. Inhale, reach up, grab the top of the post. Exhale, press it down to the solid earth. Good. Now pressing the legs straight, the arms out. Bring the hands just above the knees. Rest the weight of the upper body into the legs. Now keeping the weight resting there. Try not to change your legs in any way, but see if you can bring their left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. Maybe looking to the right. Back to center, right shoulder forward, left shoulder back, maybe looking left. And back to the center, hands down, sit lower. You could stay here, just low seated goddess, or you could shift side to side in Skandasana. Okay, come to the center, heels out, walk the hands forward, find wide-legged downward dog. So the upper body is just like downward dog. It's wide-legged. And walking the hands in about halfway. Place your left hand at the center, your heart center, right hand on your right hip. Draw your right shoulder up, maybe reaching up, wide-legged forward fold twist. Keep the spine lengthening. And then other side. Make sure your hand's far enough forward so you can extend the spine fully. Your hands in line with your feet, you're really not able to do the pose really correctly for alignment. Okay, so taking the left hand up, long spine. And back to center, one last deep forward fold. And pressing up, you might bring your feet in, tuck the tailbone, use those muscles to draw yourself up. Whenever you hear the common saying, you know, bend with your knees when you're lifting something, that same engagement of tucking the tailbone helps you when you're coming up in yoga poses. It's just like bending the knees when you're lifting. It puts the weight in the right places so you don't strain. Okay. If you need a little sip of water, get a quick sip of water. We're going to do a sun salutation. And if you want, you can add in a twist to the downward dog. I'll show you how the twist is done first. So when you're in the downward dog, the arm comes across to grab the opposite leg, and you're in a bit of a twist. Alternatively, you can just drop your elbow down and create a bit of a twist in the spine that way. Okay. But feel free to just hold downward dog if you want. Let's find mountain pose. Staying grounded through the feet, inhale, sweep wide and up. Firm the legs, exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, plant the hands, step, walk, or jump back. You can lower either halfway down or all the way down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Then exhale, come back through, downward facing dog. Now you could try dropping your left elbow for a gentle twist or reaching back with your left hand. Try not to grab the knee, stay below, or you could even do above. This is typically a pretty hard pose, so we're not going to hang out here too long. Let's change sides. Either elbow down or reaching back. Good, re-engage both hands, bend the knees, look forward. Oh, sorry, from here, come forward into plank. Let's lower our knees down. We're gonna do a side plank. So the easiest side plank is to take your left leg back, left arm up. And you're just toning through this whole side body. Otherwise, do regular plank if you can. Okay, so coming in, left hand up. Another way to kind of go in between those two is to step your top leg back. Back to center. Other side, side plank. Try not to overlift the hips. I often see a lot of these side planks that get the body in one straight line. Good, back to center. And knee step walker jumps to the top of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Turn the legs, inhale, sweep wide and up. Exhale, namaste. All right. Maybe a quick sip of water. To be honest, I never used to sip water during yoga, but little tiny bits are okay. All right. Now please, if you have a yoga block, this is going to be revolve triangle into revolve standing balance. So it's much easier with a block or even 2 blocks. But if you don't have those things, you can still do it. It's just a little harder to hold, and it's a little safer with blocks. It's not like it's unsafe, but it's just safer, and I'm always trying to be as safe as possible. But anyway, keeping the hips square to the front, right hand to right hip, take your left hand up. You're going to fold forward and bring the hand down onto the support or onto the floor, or if you have to bend your front knee, you do. It's not ideal because it changes what's happening in the femur, and that's a really important feature in yoga. So as soon as you go here, the pose is completely different, basically. So if you can, work with a straight leg, keep the right hip back, right shoulder up. You might reach up. And unwind from there. Grab your block. If you're working with 2, you just need 1 for this. You reach forward 2 feet, step up on the right foot. Now, if you're a little newer to yoga, you might just take this as an airplane because you probably don't have a block. And then stepping back and pressing up. Let's change that to the other side. Left foot forward, right foot back to leg length, toes turned in a bit, hips square to the front, and then right hand up, keeping the legs straight if you can, hold forward, bring the hand down into the support. Maybe reaching up if you find it's comfortable. Reach up with the left hand. And then lowering that left shoulder. Then your front leg, reach forward with the block if you have one. Step up on your left foot. Again, you might reach up with your left arm or just lift your left shoulder. And then stepping back and coming up. Okay, let's clear the mat. We're going to go through a sun salutation B flow. You know what that means. If you don't worry about it. But it's going to start in chair pose. We're going to do chair pose with a twist. So bend the knees, sitting back, reaching forward. Then take your left hand across your right leg. The right arm can reach up, or you can sink lower and bring your palms to your heart. Okay, reaching forward again. And the other side, other arms wide or palms together. And reaching forward, fold forward, flat back, inhale, fold, exhale. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step, walk, jump back. You could go right to downward dog and skip the vinyasa, or come forward and do the vinyasa. Now in downward dog, take your feet a little closer together, please. And we'll take your right leg up and over. See if you can create a little bit of a twist here in wild dog. From here, we're going to swing the right leg forward to pigeon pose. Right leg forward, pigeon pose. Hips square to the front. Now, there is a version of pigeon twist, but a lot of people tend to do this pose in a way that puts pressure on the front knee already. And if you do it with a twist, it gets even worse. So make sure if you're able to do this pose comfortably with no pressure in your front knee, you could bring your right shoulder down into a twist. You can even rest your head. But if you feel like you want to err on the side of caution, staying square to the front upright is always the safest. Lying forward is another option. But again, you have to be extra careful not to be putting pressure in the knee joint. One way to keep that knee joint steady and toned is to keep consciousness in the right foot. If you let your right foot just go dead and limp, then that knee joint also goes a bit limp, and then it tends to get overstretched in the wrong ways. Okay, let's find our way back through a downward dog. Some people like to throw in an extra vinyasa here. When you get good at the vinyasas, they aren't hard anymore, and then you just got to do more of them. Once you're in the downward dog, bring your feet a little closer together. Now you're going to take the left leg up and over, once again in a wild dog formation. Bit of a twist in the spine if you can manage it. And swing that left leg forward for a left side king pigeon. Upright or bowing, or left shoulder down for twisted pigeon pose. So most of you, I'm sure, probably know this, but in pigeon pose, the safest and easiest start position is to have the foot tucked back. And as you progress, you bring the foot more and more forward to the side, but not as it shouldn't bring pressure into the knee. It should all be coming in the hip. And then find your way back through downward dog. You can even throw in one last vinyasa if you wanted to. And then please find your way into malasana. Now, if you like, you can take a malasana twist. Just be careful because the spine's a bit rounded in this position, so a malasana twist should keep pretty gentle. If you're able to, and I imagine that you're probably not, but in this sequence, the twist that I would do would be bakasana, which is crow pose, but with a twist. And it's a challenging pose to get into if you're newer to yoga naturally. So don't feel like you have to at all. But some of you have been doing yoga with me for a while, so you want to try something new. There you go. All right, let's take a seat, please. Balancing on your 3 points, get your hold behind the hamstrings. Extend the arms, lift the chest, feet up. Maybe arms forward. Palms to the heart. Twist right, extend the arms. You could just hold regular boat if you want. It's harder if you extend your legs. Back to center. Twist left, extend the arms, maybe legs. And then back to center. Coming down, Baddha Konasana. Okay, and take your left foot forward. your right foot across. We're going to twist to the right, but if you can comfortably tuck your foot back and get your hips completely flat without any pressure in your left knee, then you can have your foot tucked back. Personally, I prefer to have the leg forward unless I'm sitting on a block. And then sitting up tall, either way you're doing it, twist to the right. There's a bit of a squeezing in of that leg with the left arm. And again, both hips should have equal weight on the floor, both sits bones. Unwinding, right leg forward, left leg in, across, possibly right foot tucked back if you're doing full Ardha Matsyendrasana. Left hand's behind, either way, sit up tall, gently twisting left. Again, there's an action of squeezing in that left leg a bit. All right, slowly unwinding from there. Find your way around to your back. If you have a block, have it handy. You don't need one, but you can do a little extra if you do have one. So lying back so you can just touch your heels, feet parallel, bend your elbows, press the back of the elbows into the floor, lift the hips up. We're in our little bridge. For those of you, if you feel up for it, if you're feeling open enough in the shoulders, you might be able to come up onto the crown of the head or even into full wheel if you're feeling it. But feel free to stay with the bridge. And then slowly lowering the hips down. Our last twist, we shift the hips to the right, extend the left foot, the right foot gently over or behind the knee. Right arm reaches out, left arm grabs, left hand grabs the right leg and pull it over to a twist. If you have a block, you can actually put it at the height that you want to twist to, and then you can really rest into it. Back to center, feet flat, lift the hips, set them over to the left, right leg extends, left foot over or behind the right knee, left arm out, right hand grabs the left leg, pulls it gently over into a twist. If you want to use some support. And then coming back to the center. From here, hug your knees in. Big hug around the legs. You could go into a happy baby if you like. And then from there, you could just press your legs up into Viparit Karani, downward flowing lake. Or you could grab your block, make it a little more therapeutic. A little bit of elevation under the hips changes the blood flow. The heart has to work in a different way, and you get this whole other effect on the nervous system. But just having your legs up, you get most of that effect. And then slowly coming down as you're ready. We're going to find our way into Shavasana, final relaxation pose. You could also do legs up the wall pose if you prefer, where you sit with your butt against the wall, legs up, basically. It's another good way to finish. This is one of my personal favorites with the knees bent. It allows your low back to kind of press into the floor, whereas when your legs are straight, it curves up. And so it's a little just more soothing and stable for the low back if you have this wide foot base, knees together position. So lying in Shavasana in that position, or legs straight, or legs up the wall. Let's take just a couple minutes of deep relaxation. I'm going to find my way out of the pose, but feel free to stay longer. As I always say, the point of Shavasana really is to be able to go longer and longer in deep stillness and relaxation. So feel free to stay as long as you want, as long as you can. If you'd like to, you could come into a meditation posture. But I'd like to do just our final dedication now, in case you have to go. So thank you for joining us today for our twisting practice. I recommend drinking a lot of water because it tends to stimulate a lot of the organs. It's kind of like wringing out a dirty wet towel. It's quite cleansing, so drink a lot of water. Yeah, it's a very detoxifying practice. So very good for you. If you have any questions or anything, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm always available to answer any questions. Thanks again. If you want to sit with me and meditate for a little while, I'll be here for another few minutes. Thanks again for joining us today. Hope to see you again next week. Namaste. Hey, thanks for joining us. Please keep meditating if you can. I'm going to check out now. Thank you. Namaste. My pleasure. You're welcome.